6:31.
We are still waiting for 2 more people to show up. 3 actually. So we're going to go in reverse order. The first thing that I want to go ahead and,
Okay.
transmission, sorry.
Gracias por venir todos. Estamos esperando unas personas más para llegar, entonces vamos a ir como en orden reverso de nuestra agenda hoy.
So I want to go ahead and just make the announcement that we are having another meeting next week, November 6th at, or not, sorry, November 4th at 6:30 to talk about the new management company. Right, to select the new management company.
Queríamos dejar todos saber que la próxima semana, 4 de noviembre, a las 6:30, vamos a tener otra reunión para elegir el nuevo company de manager de Westbriar. Entonces todos están invitados a tener esta reunión, 4 de noviembre.
Ahorita, sorry, I'm not talking English. As of right now, we have 3 potential candidates for the management companies. We're going to try to get them to also come out here and, like today, give a brief introduction and talk to you all about their services.
Hasta hoy hemos recibido 3 contratos de compañías de manager y también como hoy vamos a invitarles a venir a la reunión para hablar todos de ellos y los servicios de ellos.
What's the age of the previous management company? They quit or
Yeah, they was.
The
why?
last,
Well, we can tell you that what they said at the moment was that they couldn't move forward with the letter that we had provided to them, which was to repair, or to give us, actually provide us 3 quotes to start the repairing process of the specific things that insurance had requested to us
Within the time frame that was stated,
within the
21
time
days.
frame.
Okay.
But
What did the insurance require? We weren't informed of any of that.
Yeah, we gave copies last time.
I
You
can
didn't
give,
receive anything in the mail.
yeah, I can give it to you now.
Yeah, we should get in May.
We should have been informed of that,
Before you.
of the requirements of the insurance company.
We are working on the requirement, so it's right here what their requirement is.
Do you mind reading it?
I
For everyone.
Can you read it out?
Okay, yeah, I can read it out.
No,
So they said mandatory, parking surfaces, all regularities in the parking lot, surface should be patched or repaved so that the parking surface is level. At the time of our visit, it was noted that there were a number of irregularities in forms of depressions, cracks, heaves, creating pitfall exposures. Repair and replace any sunken and or even uneven sections of walking surfaces of parking lots. This will help reduce trip and fall hazards. And then one more about certificate of insurance that we should have for all the contractors who do work here, naming Westbriar as additional insured in the certificates of insurance.
This insurance is the one that insure the whole complex? That's all they require according to the rules?
That is the mandatory recommendation. Yes, I can give you this if you would like it evidence.
I'd like to speak on behalf of National Realty Partners, and one of the reasons why our termination, our resignation was submitted, because National Realty Partners, myself specifically, is aware of a lot of the situations in your buildings that many of which the insurance companies are unaware of. Your electrical, I've had 3 or 4 electrical sockets actually burn in the unit as well as in the basements. The roofs, we've had people come up and do the roofs. I've had people come up, they have asked, the board has asked some specifics to do the roof, to do some work on the roof, which really didn't make sense because roofing company gave some of these items listed in a roof replacement. The roofing company says, we will not put our name to fixing something in such poor condition. So we are aware, I am dealing with it on a daily basis of some of the issues. The infestation of bed bugs and mice and rats, and the roof situation, the plumbing situation. One of the serious plumbing situations you have right now are your waste lines. The waste line are your toilet lines and the tub lines. We are having cracks. This I have been dealing with almost one a week now. That is seeping into people's units. So there is a liability issue, and if the board does not want to follow up on this work, National Realty Partners basically said, we know about this stuff, and we don't want to take on the liability of knowing that somebody could get hurt. And I didn't even mention the balconies, the structures on the balconies are compromised, to say the least. Several years ago, a company was hired to do some work, replace some railings that were rusted, and some people paid a special assessment. And when they started to do the work, they found out that the structure of the balcony is not secure. So that was an issue, and that's why that stopped. So it's not because we don't want to work with you, it's because we don't want to see somebody die.
May I ask a question?
We're going to go ahead and...
I want to ask a question of Sheila.
To her?
To her, yes.
Oh, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and first, now that the attorneys are here, we're going to start with them, and then you can ask your question after we're done.
Just to respect their time, please, and just because they have to leave as soon as they finish their presentation, please.
Not a problem. As an owner, the plaintiff's attorney is here right now. As before, I'm asking him to leave. This is an owner-specific meeting. There's no reason for him to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
He is here because the board.
No, he is
No,
not.
let her say it. Let her say that statement. Go ahead.
Okay.
I ask him back to...
¿Podemos seguir el proceso, por favor? Continuar.
He's asking if we can continue the process, because the purpose of tonight's meeting is to choose a new attorney for Westbriar. So there were 3 attorneys that are invited, and they are here.
Yes, but we've asked you to please remove the attorney that sued us as a community.
So for the
from this
record,
meeting.
is the board going to allow him to be here? Yes or no?
Yes.
You will go
Thank
ahead
you.
and have...
I will ask you to please be patient and be respectful to all our guests. And we're going to continue with the agenda, please. And after they finish their presentation, you can ask your questions and bring up your concerns, and we're going to listen to them. Okay, so keep going.
Entonces, vamos a comenzar con los abogados que van a dar un pequeño discurso y presentarse a la comunidad.
Okay, I would like to start with our first guest, which is Susan Ehrman. Susan, please, if you could just give a brief introduction to all the owners.
Hi, I'm Susan Ehrman.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Susan Ehrman. I'm an attorney in McLean, Virginia. I practice with my father, my uncle.
Oh, sorry, but she will have to translate too. If
Yeah,
you could.
slowly. Go ahead.
Okay, ella es Susan Ehrman y ella es una abogada, tiene su oficina en McLean con su papá y su tío.
And I've been practicing, I don't know, for over 20 years, mostly in real estate, land use, and the like. I do not traditionally represent HOAs. I traditionally represent owners that have complaints, because I think personally HOAs can manage very well by themselves. I know there's a lot of discourse here, which I just learned of. And hopefully, at times that's very good to develop a property to have a lot of different opinions, as long as someone can wrap, get decisions together.
Okay, ella dice que ha estado practicando la ley por más o menos 20 años, y más que todo en real estate y uso de terreno. Más que todo ella dice que ha representado también dueños con quejas contra asociaciones, y también ha aprendido hoy que hay mucho como unos desacuerdos en esta comunidad.
So I'm a little unsure of all your needs, but I can do the collection work, I'm in court all the time. And I also sit as a substitute judge as well. And so I do see some of these issues. But your issues are grander, you've got probably, rules of parliament issues that you need to deal with, as I'm seeing today. You probably have issues about communications and notice, and certainly infrastructure, capital expenditures. So you're gonna have some contracting issues, capital expenditures, and probably loan issues as well, all of which I've dealt with over the years. But my comrade here is probably equally as capable.
Entonces ella dice que también tiene experiencia en colecciones y también tiene experiencia en las cortes y dice que está viendo que va a haber temas de reglas y de avisos y de gastos aquí, tal vez de préstamos aquí.
So do you have any question for Susan? Any?
Hi. Just wondering, if a organization or a group sues us and the same people are asking for documents without a subpoena or any kind of legal documents forcing you to provide the documents, would you provide those said documents to that party?
I'm not going to render any legal advice tonight. I don't know enough about what's going on. And
Okay.
That would be malpractice. I mean, it's obvious that there's discourse, and sometimes that happens. And hopefully you'll have the right, and everyone's here to participate, which is great. And hopefully with the right leadership and the right information, you can make great decisions together. But neither of us would have a job if everyone got along. So it's okay. So as much energy is in this room, I'm sure someone will turn it around to positive energy.
Él preguntó algo y ella dice que no está aquí para dar consejo legal ahorita, pero ella dice que sí hay mucha energía en ese cuarto, en esa sala de reuniones, y la idea es que alguien va a convertir o alguien va a convertir esa energía en energía positiva.
She has a question.
Hello. So did I hear you correctly in saying that you don't represent HOAs?
I have not represented, I've represented only a few. They're very small like yours, but in the direction that I led them, they pretty much self-governed, and I only came to good issues. But I do litigate against larger HOAs. I mean, and that does seem unusual, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can think about it. It's okay.
Yes. You said you're practicing 20 years, or the practice you work at has been
I've
practicing
been
20 years?
Yeah, I know I look really young, but I've been practicing over 20 years. The practice together has been over 100 years.
Okay.
Okay, let her translate for us.
Ok, entonces ella dice que ha representado unas asociaciones, pero la dirección que ella le dio a esas asociaciones es que al final podrían gobernarse solos, sin abogado o sin abogados. Dice que tiene 20 años de ser abogado. Y la compañía donde trabaja tiene como 100 years, como 100 años.
Any other question for Susan? This is your last opportunity to ask any questions, I guess, in regards to
Question
legal.
also. From your experience, do you think the board is capable of doing this job?
I don't know that. I don't know.
May I ask a question? Have you been briefed on any of the issues that are going on in this
Just
community?
a little bit. I think I don't know enough, and maybe maybe other people have more information. You do need capital improvements. I can see that by walking around, which should be done in out years. Like you should. I mean, boards. I mean, it's all hard. It's all volunteer work, but you should have capital expenditures that should have been happening a long time ago.
I mean, they should have happened a long time ago.
Let us translate, please.
Can you explain what you mean by capital expenditure?
A capital improvement to me, my definition would be those like the roof, the landscaping, the pipes. That should have been in your budget 20 years ago.
Yeah.
To be, well, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can fight about it, or else you can be proactive about it.
Thank
So-
you.
Yes, thank you.
Practical.
But that, moving forward, I would hope that all of you would agree on how to get there. But you have to, even if you're not going to be owning it, you have to have been saving for the future. And that's with any commission or board. I'm sure you guys have served on other things, and it's called a capital improvement.
Sure. Would you suggest if we didn't have funds within our community to pay for those capital expenditures, that perhaps a loan would be a good way to go?
I don't know enough. There's all sorts of lending and leveraging. I don't know how you're financed now.
or not?
So I don't know, and maybe there's a specialist in the, someone here you can tap is in the financial district that can help you with that, right?
Está preguntando si necesitamos sacar un préstamo si no tenemos suficientes fondos, y el abogado dice que no sabe suficiente información para poder contestar esta pregunta.
No more questions?
¿Para qué el préstamo que van a pedir?
¿Cómo?
Ella dice que si ella dijo que si necesitábamos un préstamo.
Ella
Oh,
preguntó.
no, la señora preguntó que si no hay dinero para hacer las donaciones, si sacar un préstamo sería necesario.
Y ella le dijo que no sabía porque no teníamos.
Okay.
We're just clarifying the question that she asked and the answer. So do you speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for Susana. Thank you, Susana.
Thank you. So she just walked on today and thought we needed all this. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the next guest that we have on the night.
We're doing business.
And Ivy is gonna introduce.
And he's great. You guys keep some good candidates. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, so the next candidate we have for the attorney is Joe Cerrone. El próximo candidato es Joe Cerrone para el abogado.
Can you spell your last name, please?
My place.
What did you say?
Last name, how do you spell that?
Cerrone, C-E-R-R-O-N-I.
O-N-I, thank you.
All right. Good evening. My name is Joe Cerrone. My office is in Annandale, Virginia. I used to have an office nearby here in the Road Building on, I don't know, up in the corner there years ago. I started,
Sí, él es Joe Cerrone y él es un abogado, tiene una oficina en Annandale.
okay. I do know Ivy's dad. He's a broker at Fairfax Realty, and I do legal work for Fairfax Realty, so Ivy invited me to make a presentation tonight.
Dice que conoce al papá de Ivy, que es un broker en Fairfax Realty. Y así se conocieron y Ivy me invitó a hacer una presentación.
Okay, my practice is contract law, real estate work, and commercial practice, and I represent small businesses. That's pretty much most of the work that I do.
Él dice que su práctica de la ley consiste de ley de contratos y de real estate y representa pequeños negocios.
Okay. One of the things I think that Susan mentioned that's important for the attorneys to be able to give you a proposal, we need to know what type of problems or what type of issues that you have.
Una de las cosas para que pueda dar como contrato, como abogado, es saber cuáles son los problemas o los temas de la asociación.
I've served on a homeowner association board for about 5 years. I mean, this was a while ago, but I do have some experience with issues that associations face. I think the two issues that associations face, one of the major issues is collections of assessments.
Él estaba en una asociación de dueños de casas por 5 años, hace tiempo, pero aún así dice que conoce los problemas que quizá a veces tienen las asociaciones, por ejemplo, colecciones.
The other issue is contracting. You have to find contractors to provide services for your association, and that's another big job of the board. You have to find responsible and responsive contractors. And I was involved in contract law for a number of years because before I went out in private practice, I worked for the Department of Navy and I was a contracts attorney, and that's what I did. I did that. That was my job at that time.
Él dice el otro tema de asociaciones es contratos y también encontrando contratistas para que puedan dar servicios por la asociación. Y él estaba involucrado solamente en la ley de contratos por unos años.
And I think that Susan and I think I've practiced a little bit longer than she has, but we're both about the same time period, I would say.
Más o menos son de misma época la otra abogada Susan y él.
And I'll take any questions if you all have any questions.
Y si tiene alguna pregunta, puede preguntarle.
So, in order for you to give us a quote, we will have to discuss,
what the issues are, because, you know, like I said, most associations, the issue they have collections. You know, they need to collect the assessments for people that don't pay on time, and that's like a real important thing. Some associations have issues with, they have long-term contracts, like say with companies to do lawn care and stuff, and the contractor's not doing a good job, and they're having issues about they're not doing the service correctly or up to the specs of the contracts. You know, that's another issue. And it sounds like you all might have some other issues, like other lawsuits or something like that. Well, I mean, you know, that's still a third area that you need to deal with. And one of the things I asked Ivy is that the attorney that they had before, how did you pay him? Did you pay him like on a retainer basis, that you paid him a certain amount every month and they provided a certain number of hours of service? Or did you pay him just on an hourly basis? You know, when you called him up and he did work, they would send you a bill, you know, for the amount of work that was done. That gives kind of an idea. And did that work out? Was the system you had before, did that work out, or was it unsatisfactory? You know, there's a number of ways attorneys can charge. Attorneys can charge a retainer in which you pay them a certain amount every month and they give you so many hours worth of service. Another way is just plain hourly basis. Whatever their hourly rate is, they charge you their hourly rate, and you know, you call them as needed. There's another way, there's called a modified contingency for like collection work. Most of the time in your bylaws, the bylaws say if somebody doesn't pay their assessment, they have to pay the cost of collection, including attorney's fees. I'm sure that I haven't seen your bylaws, but I'm almost certain that they should be in every bylaws. So basically in that case, if you have a collection case, sometimes the attorney can do it on a modified contingency. What that means is that the attorney will charge a very low fee, but will be entitled to part of the recovery. So if they sue for $1,000 and the attorney collects $1,000, he'll get his fee from whatever is collected. And also, the amount you collect from the person, you always, you know, you sue for the amount that's due plus the court costs plus the attorney's fees. So there's a number of ways that you can hire an attorney, but you need to find out what is the best, you know, what is the most effective for your association, and that's going to depend on the amount of work that you have and the type of work, and it's also going to depend, I mean, the way you can tell is, are all the new board members?
yes.
Except for me. So, can I translate a little
Sure,
bit?
go ahead,
Laura preguntó cómo es que él va a cobrarnos por su trabajo. Dice que no está seguro todavía porque no conoce muy bien la asociación. Y está explicando que hay varias maneras que se puede cobrar un abogado, como por hora, como cierta cantidad al mes, o se puede cobrar tal porcentaje para ver colocado tanta cantidad de dinero de alguien que tiene delincuente.
Okay. And one way that you may be able to determine what is the best is to look historically, like look at the, I don't know what kind of, you know, you have to go back and look at the records or the minutes of the meetings, and see what you spent in the past and what you spent it on, and that can give you a guide. You know, you might look at that and you might tell, well, the attorney, we want you to give us a proposal on an hourly rate, or we want you to give us a proposal, we need an average of 4 hours of legal work per month. So give us a proposal based on that, and then that way you can you'll get the best legal services for the lowest cost.
So Sheila, have you ever made an assessment in regards to that, to the job that the previous attorney was doing,
Well,
or what is the best?
You get a breakdown of the charges of what is collection. Fortunately, Westbriar has very low collection rate. So a lot of the work is, we've had some issues with parking in the county, and we've had more hands-on than collection work.
So basically, in the past, the attorney was like on call basis. When
Yes.
you needed help, you would call and contact. Well,
But they're also on retainer, so you have the board of the, usually one person from the board of directors would call, and those calls were not charged for under retainer, so on special work and things like that.
and do you know how many hours
I don't know,
Okay.
and I think every month it was different.
But I mean, sometimes with the retainer, what they do is they give you so many hours are included, and, you know, you gotta kind of develop that based on how much you need. You know, if you think there's some months that you don't have any issues at all, and there's some months, you know, you have a few hours, you know, you may say, well, you know, we need 2 hours a month, you know, all right. But I mean, that's what you really need to do to figure out, you know, what.
She had a question first.
Yeah, I think the low collection fee is because of our previous lawyer. He was a really good lawyer. Nothing against you, but my question is, you have a personal relationship with one of the board members' families. Isn't that a conflict of interest?
It's not a personal relationship, it's a business relationship. That's not a conflict of interest at all. That's nothing like that at all.
Preguntó si tiene una relación personal con un
That's
familiar.
a very interesting relationship.
Que no, es una relación de negocio, no personal.
I have a question. When the board sent the invitation for lawyers to give their services to us, didn't the board work or find out something, background on costs or what is to provide them with that information?
I did get it for
So
Susan.
he's aware of?
I know the hourly rate for Susan because she just gave me the
No,
hourly.
I mean what we were paying before and what services we were paying before, so they could base their,
Okay, él está preguntando si teníamos el como contrato del abogado antes para saber cómo es que nos estaba cobrando. And so the response to that is that we asked for a copy of the retainer with our previous attorney for the association, and we were not given it.
That's not true. You were given it, I emailed it to you personally.
We'll pull up the email.
You can,
It's,
you can show me, it's not.
I sent it to the entire board, actually.
What?
No.
Whoa.
Did I send an email?
It's from many years ago, and you had,
No, we are talking about,
This board is new, they just came on this year.
No, but you personally, I emailed it to about it.
No.
Yeah, you did.
A year,
The
a year.
agreement.
since we don't have that information right now, we could get it with that, send out a new application, so the persons that can will have
but
the amount they can charge.
unfortunately, we need to select. And it doesn't mean, I want you to understand that it's not that we are gonna select a lawyer today and then we're gonna pay a fixed salary for the entire year and it's not gonna be flexible. I'm pretty sure, I mean, it's not a salary, first of all. So whenever we need him, we're gonna pay him per hour or based on the different options, that they offer.
That's not a concern. What he said
I mean,
is
not a
that
salary.
he doesn't want to give us a number until he knows more.
Right.
Couldn't you have given that information previously so he knows and comes with us to us
Well,
with that
we
information?
requested it 2 weeks ago.
So can we give it to him and get an answer maybe for the next meeting and then make a decision?
So you want to wait until next meeting?
It's a suggestion. I don't want to wait, but I want to ask.
Right.
Okay, someone else.
El año pasado pagamos 40,000 a 45,000 el abogado el año pasado.
Okay, so he said last year we paid between 40 and 45,000 to the lawyer for the association.
How does he know that and you don't?
Because
She's a-
cada año,
You're on the board, he's
It's
not.
in the
How-
budget, it's in the budget.
cada año más.
But she's saying she doesn't have any of this information.
But he has.
No,
But he
that's a
has it,
different
and that's her
person.
husband.
Okay,
What?
and it's in the budget that is sent to
Yeah,
all the
every year,
owners.
every end of year.
Well, she always acts like she doesn't know what's going on.
She's here, ask her manager.
But did you spend
No,
it?
but the question was asked your wife, she didn't know.
That's good.
But we
That's a
don't,
start.
the question I guess that he had is, like, all the specific questions that he had on how the previous lawyer was paid, and how many hours did he spend on collecting, on doing the collections and other things. We don't know those details.
You
So we
should,
can-
Robin's been on the board for several years. She should
Right,
know that
okay,
information.
She should
and
know.
I have been asking that information.
No,
and
you
I'm
were
not
on the
receiving
board
it.
where all that information was shared, Robin, you should know that.
That was not shared with me.
Yes,
I'm
it was.
sorry, it's not my fault.
So
I
you were
asked
calling
for
her
that.
a
Okay,
liar.
are there any
Yeah, I
more
am.
questions
Yeah, I am.
for Mr. Cerrone? For Joe? Do you have any other questions?
There's a question.
¿Alguna pregunta para el abogado?
There's a question for the board.
So at the last meeting a month ago, we were notified, some people weren't at the meeting, we were notified that we no longer have representation for the association. So it's been a month now that we don't have representation, and at that meeting last month, you said you were gonna choose representation by the end of the week. But you're saying you just requested some information from property management 2 weeks ago?
No.
You said that.
We
didn't you?
had
just
asked-
said-
We had asked for that information over a month ago. We wanted to make this process open. For that reason, we decided to invite several attorneys to come and talk to the community so we could make a decision.
Who did you request the information to, Mr. Marr?
We sent it in an email.
Well, Mr. Marr did not respond because they were involved in a lawsuit at the time. So he could not respond as far as for the association, because the association, he was, at that point, he is the attorney and counsel for the association, and you were the plaintiffs in the case. That's why he could not respond, and he put that in writing to you.
But why won't you tell us that?
We asked for the contract.
The contract, the retainer you have from several years ago, I personally sent you. It's very old. I sent it to, I did.
You said
I'll
you
pull
didn't
up the
have it.
email.
I can show you the email. You said you didn't
I
have
will.
it.
Okay.
Ok, el punto es que no, están preguntando cómo es que nos cobró antes, el punto es que esta gente no tiene contrato de abogado antes, entonces no sabemos cómo es que nos cobró antes.
Sorry, English.
Sorry.
So I'm just giving, I was translating that he had asked how we were paying the attorney from before.
I think everybody understand English. I guess we just killing time by translation. Because everybody's understand English in here. Because in America, everybody's working a job, they understand English. And then if you go by English, go ahead, because we killing time here with translation. And then we don't know what you're talking about.
I'm translating what is being said in English to Spanish because there are owners that have asked for this, and for that reason, we were given that.
Well, everybody understand English. It's very
English. Can anyone raise, can you?
Yeah, some people, they don't understand, that's why they request to translate in Spanish. Most
But it
people
should
we
be a
understand, but some
translator.
of them, they request that. Not because she wants to.
Okay, so, any other question? No more questions? Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Any questions?
My question now of Sheila.
What, we have one more person and then I will give you the word.
Okay, so our third candidate is Andy Baxter. As the otro candidato, pues, la verdad
Can't
es
get better
Andy
than
Baxter.
Hi, everybody. Obviously, I'm the plaintiff's attorney, okay? I was approached initially, how I became involved with this community in the first place was I was approached by Angel and by Michelle to represent about 20 homeowners in this community because they weren't happy with the representation they were getting from their board. They weren't happy with the representation they were getting from the property management company. They weren't happy with the representation they were getting as a community. They wanted legal advice in order to find out how to change the makeup of the board, how to get the information they needed in order to improve the community, and control the finances of the board so that a bunch of money wasn't being wasted on a large renovation project that, you know, could potentially be done for less money. That was the concern of the community, and that's how I became involved in this entire controversy. Now, since then, I've been asked by the board to answer some questions from them since they've been elected, and I've also been asked to submit a proposal to become the attorney for the association. Now, my proposal that I gave the board breaks down my fee structure like this. I give a reduced hourly rate for every regular advise and consent that I give the board. And then as far as collections go, it's a straight contingency. Like Mr. Serrano said, a lot of times what happens is that an attorney charges a reduced rate, and then they get maybe 15, 25, 35% of whatever they collect on a contingency. My proposal is I get no hourly rate for collections work. I get a straight 25% contingency. I get a reduced hourly rate for regular work of the board, and I have my regular hourly rate for special litigation projects if something like that were to ever come up. The reason why I have that clause for special litigation is because, as I understand, the previous property management company, before NRP, was accused of making off with a lot of everybody's money for the balcony repairs. They got charged a $5,000 special assessment for balcony repairs, and then this is what members of the community have told me. So that's what members of the community have told me. So.
Oh, that's what they told you?
Yeah. So I mean, so that's an issue that if the board wanted to pursue that or find out more information about that, that's not normally within the scope of what a homeowners association or a condominium association attorney would do. So basically, I charge what I would charge for like corporate litigation or something along those lines. My office is in Arlington. I live fairly close to here off of Sleepy Hollow Road. I've been practicing in the area for about 5 years. I'm associated with several firms, one in New York, one in McLean, and one over in DC, to handle their litigation work. Most of my practice is litigation. I have a general practice background. I've done corporate law, I've done immigration law, I've done family law, I've done a wide range of other things, but 80% of what I do is I handle other firms' litigation matters for them. That's why, because of the collection aspect of this job, a litigator is being a litigator is to my advantage. Also to my advantage is that I'm familiar with a lot of the issues that are going on here in the community. I'm familiar with the board members, I'm familiar with many individuals here. I understand the controversy that has occurred. And I know that I'm viewed as the bad guy in a lot of this, but I do want to explain that I was approached by the community in order to solve what was perceived to be a problem with the way the community was being represented previously. And as far as I'm concerned, my representation of those community members was successful. And I would hope to be considered for the job of the association attorney. Any questions?
Can I just, quiero nomás decir lo que está diciendo. Entonces él es Andy Baxter, él era el abogado de los que estaban demandando la asociación y dice que él se involucró aquí porque yo y mi esposo le conocimos, le hablamos acerca de representando 20 dueños en la comunidad que no estaban contentos con la representación que estaban recibiendo de la junta de directores y la compañía manager, y también quería su consejo legal acerca de cómo cambiar la junta y cómo mejorar la comunidad y empezar a controlar las cosas financieras de la comunidad y no gastar mucho dinero no necesario en un proyecto. Entonces, la Junta ahorita le hemos pedido que él pone una oferta para posiblemente ser el abogado de la comunidad. Y entonces él dice que está ofreciendo a cobrarnos como menos de lo que normalmente cobra por hora para dar consejo a la Junta, consejo legal y por colecciones. Dice que va a trabajar como ganando nomás un porcentaje, lo que se puede recuperar de tal dueño, y no va a cobrar por hora y por ese trabajo. Y también tiene otra cláusula como consejo legal especial. Por ejemplo, él dice que entiende de varios dueños que con la compañía que estaba aquí antes de NRP, otra compañía manager que se fue con dinero de unos dueños de hacer unos balcones que querían hacer. Y dice que él tiene su oficina en Arlington, también vive cerca de aquí, cerca de Sleepy Hollow Road. Dice que en esta área del país tiene 5 años de practicar la ley, y dice que está asociado con unos 3 compañías de abogados que hacen cosas de demandas, y también hace la ley de compañías, y también ha hecho la ley de inmigración y la ley de familia. Y dice que acerca de colecciones, dice que le conviene que es abogado acerca de demandas, porque eso le puede ayudar mucho trabajando en colecciones. Y también él es muy familiar con esta comunidad específicamente y los problemas que están en la comunidad que ha estado. Conoce la junta, directores y también varios dueños en la comunidad. Y él dice que entiende que quizá hay algunos en ese cuarto que le vean como la persona, el bad guy, la persona mala, pero dice que vea que ha sido exitoso en ayudar a esta comunidad ir en un camino para mejorarse.
Robin, did you say you had experience in community association? Good experience with this? Did you say that?
No, I have,
But I thought that's what.
as a litigator, I've litigated against homeowners associations and condominium associations prior to this incident, so.
But you don't have any condo associations or?
No, I typically do not represent homeowners associations or condo associations.
Can you give us let me ask you a question. Can you just give us an update on the lawsuit that everyone?
Okay, yeah, I understand, yeah. I've moved to non-suit the lawsuit. An order has not been entered in Fairfax Circuit Court to non-suit that case yet. In the next couple of weeks, the judge will enter an order to non-suit the case. As you all know, the case was never served on any of the defendants. And what a non-suit is, it's the plaintiff saying that they would like the case to end. I've made that motion, and within the next couple of weeks, that motion will be heard by a Fairfax County Circuit Court judge. And since there will be no opposition to it because there's no one on the other side of the case at this point, that motion will be granted and the lawsuit will be ended. That's the status of the suit. The suit itself was never served on any of the defendants. It was essentially a pending but inactive case on the Fairfax Circuit Court docket. And that was by design in order to make sure that none of the parties involved expended resources toward the defense of a lawsuit, when really the goal of the lawsuit was to add force to the community's efforts to change the board membership and
20
to
people, not the community.
solve-
But the community did incur charges in the defense of that lawsuit.
The
And you got
community
paid
members, there
by
were
us.
20 members of the community
No,
who
the
signed on
homeowners
being.
association, Mr. Marr took action on that lawsuit, I know of on at least 3 occasions, and were charged for that.
We're paying for it as the others.
He wrote 3 letters, that's true. I've received 3 letters from him. So, but as far as court filings, any need to respond on behalf of the association, There was nothing no litigation work was required to be conducted, and that was by design, and that was part of the plaintiff's strategy, was to make sure that a lot of resources of the community were not wasted on litigation, where really the issues, could be solved through the election and through the community's efforts and through this discourse that we're having here today.
But wasn't it requested without prejudice, so at any time they can refile?
Right.
A non-suit is without prejudice.
So at any time they
It
can refile?
could be requested with prejudice. It
well-
can be asked with prejudice. Is that not correct?
A non-suit?
Yes.
A non-suit is typically, a dismissal can be requested with prejudice. A non-suit, by definition, is without prejudice. But the issues of the case itself, it should be mentioned, are basically moot. And at this point, the actual things that the plaintiffs were suing for, it wouldn't make sense to refile that case. If a case ever got filed by anybody against anybody else associated with this association, it would be an entirely different cause of action or group of causes of action. It would be completely different parties. It would be a completely different basis. There's no conceivable way that I can think of that the same plaintiffs would be suing the same defendants on the same issues, because since the election, everything has changed. So with or without prejudice, it doesn't really matter, because there's no logical reason to file the same suit, if you understand what I'm saying.
So to be clear, you could refile the same lawsuit because you filed a non-suit without prejudice?
Yeah, but it just wouldn't make any sense to do that.
There are a lot of things that don't make sense that are going on.
Okay, no más quiero introducir lo que estaba diciendo. Entonces, Laura preguntó qué es el estatus de la demanda. Y él dice que él mandó papeles para retractar la demanda. Y dice en las próximas semanas el juez va a formalmente firmar para retractar la demanda. Y entonces dice que la manera que se hizo la demanda nunca fue servido, no más fue metido a la corte, pero nunca fue servido a los en el otro lado de la demanda. Entonces el punto era que la comunidad no se gastara dinero, mucho dinero en esto. Y dice que sí recibió 3 cartas del abogado de la asociación antes, pero eso fue todo. Realmente no había trabajo legal en la corte, y esa fue la estrategia para asegurarse que la comunidad, que nosotros no gastamos dinero en eso. Porque el punto era que los problemas podrían ser solucionados por una nueva junta. Y dice que estaban preguntando si se puede meter la misma demanda, y él dice que sí se podría, pero realmente no en el mundo real no hubiera sentido en eso, porque todo ha cambiado, la junta ha cambiado, entonces realmente no se podría meter. Tendrá que ser, si hay una demanda, tendrá que ser totalmente diferente, porque hay diferentes razones, porque hay diferentes personas involucradas, desde la selección, todo se ha cambiado.
Any other questions?
I just, I want,
Anything with our lawyers. It is something I just want to ask personally. I living for 25 years here. There are many times new association, new management, you know that. Many new boards. It's the first time I see too much problem with new boards and many things, and this one, that one, and I really don't understand why instead of collaborate with the new board or talk each other to see why are they, I don't understand why you're against this, against that. I really don't know. I don't understand because I live in 25 years. I never see this.
No, 21. I've never seen. I've been here 30.
I don't know. Somebody said because now the new board is Spanish. I don't know. Spanish or English, what they say, but they important the job, What they do, what they have to do. For myself, Because I live in long time.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's why it's the first time I see many papers in the entrance against this, against that. I don't know who put, wasting paper, wasting time, but it's ridiculous. I really don't know who put those papers. don't have any.
It was them.
The board.
No,
I don't
You all sued us.
I don't think
You all sued us as a community.
No, she's talking about
Are
the
you
flyers, I
the
guess.
flyers.
Oh, flyers.
Yeah, and the flyers.
That was to inform the community, because it's, I mean, I think Robin has been caught a couple times saying she didn't get information, which she clearly got. But previous meetings, she said she didn't know, you know, so I think that's to clarify things. for people.
Okay, listen, okay, if it was to inform,
No, it's no.
if it was to inform, I would like to see the proof of every single allegation that has been made against the board on those flyers.
Which
And
one?
I really don't want to
Yours
spend
or-
any
Yes,
time,
it is.
the board doesn't want to spend any time talking about an
The board
anonymous.
doesn't, but when you
An
went on board,
anonymous.
you wanted all the time to talk about
anonymous.
yours. Okay.
Yeah, because those are
I
false
think it's very
allegations that
interesting that the
are
first lawyer who stood up, she said after just walking onto the property today, it is clear
Damage.
that we need to fix the roof, the plumbing, the pipes, everything that the previous board said that you guys were against and sued them as because of.
Can I
Yes.
clarify one thing?
No, I'm not talking to
I
you,
mean,
sir.
just because I'm
You
familiar-
represent them. I'm not speaking to you.
Well, no, I mean, I do represent them, and so I think it's...
So how can you represent us, the community, if you represent them?
Well, they are you, the...
No, we're not. There are 20 people who decided to speak for 106 other units. They do not represent us.
They also...
Collectively, they have not lived here as long as the rest of us who know that this work needs to be done.
Okay, well, I don't think that anybody has ever said that the work doesn't need to be done, okay?
But we don't have the money.
Well, and...
They don't want to pay, but we
The
have to
problem
pay
with
you.
it, Mr. Cerrone said a pretty good thing. The second thing he said was the contracting process, which is really what the controversy here boiled down to. Many of the community members looked at the budget for the project, as it was stated, and they looked at the contracting process and the types
There's a contracting process. There's
Done
none.
yet.
They stopped it.
I'm talking about the bids of the process, and people looked at
were
that.
bids.
No,
There were
bids.
bids.
No, I'm saying, the estimates that were done.
The bids were coming next.
The reason they had to submit to a bank, you couldn't go to the bank and say, we want about money, but we don't know how
Ma'am, I
much.
understand completely
Well,
It didn't even
what
go out
the
to
process
bid.
is for getting a loan. I
And the
understand that process
intention, and this
completely.
is something I don't know if all of you know, and the intention was when everybody started saying, well, let's not do the painting, let's not do the carpeting. The board basically said, let's do the dangerous things first. The loan, the maximum amount would have been 2.6, but if it came in as far as a bid for the roof and it was a lot cheaper, that loan number could have come down to $1.6 million instead of $2.6 million. So
And
that was not
I
ever
think a lot of
determined.
people here within the community, the things that I've heard from the people that I've talked to are that they feel like for the last several years, work wasn't getting done on a regular
Who did
basis.
we talk to?
Money.
Who did you talk to?
I understand.
Oh, that's why the client-
Well, who did you talk to?
Probably about, 30
Why didn't we
or
make
more
a plan, a
homeowners
long-term plan
in this
to
community.
use?
You stopped it.
Money.
You stopped it.
There wasn't
No,
long
no way.
She stopped it. The suit stopped it.
How are you gonna do something?
Actually, the lawsuit didn't
You
stop.
cannot see it until it goes to
Representing
bid.
us or what? I mean, what are we talking about?
Okay.
No, there are questions about the lawsuit. Here it is.
Oh my God. Okay, Juanita, you wanted to say something.
I mean, the problem is created not last month or when we came here. It's have been here for a long time. We didn't say, I live here 5 years. I didn't see any repair. I repair myself, my condominium. But the rent, the condo fee, every 2 months, and 100, I pay 500 now.
Because we were patching, we didn't have enough money to do the repairs, we had to keep patching and patching and patching. Can I ask my question of Sheila?
Yes.
Does the insurance company know that we have problems with electrical, problems with plumbing, problems with the roof? Have they been apprised of that? No. If they were apprised of that, would they require us to get that done or cancel our policy?
I'm sure.
So that's the problem. That's why there's all that little stuff on that, because they're not apprised of what's going on here, but they're going to be.
Well, there is a reserve study that was done in 2011, is that correct? The insurance company has been appraised of all of the things that were.
Since 2011, and now we've had.
I understand. I'm just saying that in that reserve study, I've read it. In the reserve study, there are plumbing issues that are talked about.
Okay, he's not, who is he?
Okay, we're gonna stop the
Have you been hired?
Okay, please.
Excuse me, can I say something, please? I'm seeing a smile, sarcastic smile, something like that. We are not supposed to do that. We are to respect the person. Why we do that? Why you are, maybe you want to ask something else. Right?
Okay, I'm just gonna say
If there are no
something.
other questions, if nobody, well, hang on. If nobody wants to hear from me anymore, and I don't have any more questions for me, I'll go ahead and leave. But if you want to ask general questions about things I have knowledge about, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
I have a question for the board. Does our insurance company know that we are not performing the construction anymore? Are they aware of this?
This is not what is happening. Okay, let me talk on behalf of the board.
Right.
Just, I guess,
Please.
and if you stop me, we are the new board, okay? We all live here.
Yes, ma'am.
We all don't. Okay. I just want to say that I came to the board because, okay, I'm going to talk personally, okay? I'm going to talk personally, not on behalf of the board. I want to fix the problems that we have in the buildings, as you all do. So finally, we are in one agreement here, okay? I understand the problems with the rats, with the mice, that the balconies are bad, but I also realize, living here 2 years, and comparing with other buildings, that they have plans, like 5-year plans, 6-year plans, to repair gradually things that now, with the previous goal, was trying to do is just doing it through this big loan, okay? Now, we are the new board. We know, even Jim Foley, the CEO of the president of NRP, just sent us an email saying you need legal representation. You need to start following up on your collections because you're losing money if you are not doing that. So that's the reason why we have been searching for legal representation, and we wanted to be very open, democracy, just showing to you the people that we have found and the people that we are considering for this position, because we need to fill this position as soon as possible. Why? Because of course you need legal representation when you come here to the meetings. We also need that. Okay, so this is a decision that we are going to make a decision today about that. And then the next week, we are making a decision about the management company, because we need a management company also to accompany us and to work with us on the renovations that we plan to do in order to fix all the problems that we have. But we have to strategize on that, because it's not that easy. It's not something that is going to happen tomorrow. Even the previous board, the loan was not happening the next day. And the repairs were not happening the next day. Okay? So you have to work with us. Let us work. We have full-time jobs. We come back from home. We read, please. We are reading all the bylaws. Of course, we haven't learned them yet, but that's what we have the book here. We understand that you need representation, and that's why we are here today, to choose the legal representation. The management company, unfortunately, is leaving in December. Therefore, we have to take action immediately and find the most appropriate management company that will work with the board and will help us going through this process of renovation. We are gonna fix the problems, and I'm telling you.
Right,
okay,
thank you.
But I just want to make it clear, because it seems here that you look at us that we want to stop the renovations and we just want to fix sidewalks, and that's not the situation.
But why NPR is leaving us?
Yeah. Well, someone already asked the question, and they said because they didn't agree with the way the board was trying to. That's not what they said.
No, because NRP is leaving because they are aware of the liability and the dangers involved, and we do not want to stand by and watch somebody get hurt or worse, die.
Okay.
And can I just say something? Does anybody have any more questions?
That's why I asked
Yes.
you those questions.
Well, she had a question for me.
I don't know. I have a question.
Are you representing them right now?
No, I'm not.
Then you need to leave.
So if everyone would just let me say goodbye. I mean,
Bye.
I've enjoyed meeting people here in this community, and I count several members
It's bye,
of
sir.
the community
Excuse me,
here
ma'am.
as friends at this point.
How can you be so disrespectful even if you...
Bye. What does he need to say?
I
He
promise.
represents you. I'm sorry, I do not want to hear what he's saying. Yes, he did, honey. Yes, he did.
Okay,
We said
everybody,
no.
can I just say my final couple of sentences here?
Mr. Strickland.
Okay, that's fine, ma'am. I'd like to thank everybody for having me out today. I am friends with several members of the community here now, and I look forward to helping you guys with these problems if you do choose me to be your association attorney. And I certainly feel like I personally have a lot invested in the community at this point, and I am personally apprised of all of the issues that are in controversy here tonight. So thank you again for your time, and I appreciate it.
So sorry.
Can I get a chance? Yes, ma'am.
Earlier I asked a question whether this board is appropriate to do the job. The reason why I said that was because I was approached by this young lady before all this happened, and I know what her interests are, and she's not serving my interests. I appreciate you for what you do, for taking time for preparing all these documents, for mediating all this. But I don't want someone who has a completely different interest of mine sitting in front of me and representing Spanish-speaking people. When you are interpreting for them, it seems like you are speaking for them. There should be somebody else who speaks Spanish.
I speak Spanish.
1 second. 1 second. In the very beginning, everyone agreed that you can videotape the board. Now you are taking away the owner's agreement to it by pointing the camera directly to people.
Turn it off, sir, because that's not.
That is inappropriate and against what everyone agreed to. Do we agree with that?
No.
Yes. Every single meeting, you keep it on them, not on us.
He is calling for his personal...
No, go ahead, to clarify that, I didn't see him turn the camera. Had I seen that, I
been
would
turning it
I'm telling, oh my God, can you?
Thank you, thank you.
I'm on your side.
Thank you.
I'm saying, I didn't see him turn the camera. Had I seen him do it, I would have told him to keep it on us.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Calm down before you jump. Señor, por favor, mira, le voy a pedir un favor. El de acuerdo al principio era que tenía que filmar a la junta. Los dueños no quieren estar en los videos, así es que por favor mantenga la cámara apuntada acá, porque los dueños no quieren estar en el video. Se tiene que respetar eso, lo que quieren ellos.
Quiero aclarar, y después lo traduce por favor. De acuerdo a la ley de Virginia, condominio Lobby o Virginia, está permitido filmar, no solo a la directiva, sino filmar a la asamblea. No dice que no hay que filmar a la gente.
¿Y qué dice lo de acuerdo con...?
Pueden leer la ley, pero yo no quiero hacer discusión, pero quiero hacer presente de que he leído la ley, he leído consultar a un abogado y se puede filmar.
Yes, I will translate.
Nada más, pero ahí no más que quede, pero voy a filmar a la directiva, pero sabiendo que se puede filmar a todos.
Okay, so she was asking him if he could just film the board.
Has he agreed to at the beginning?
And he said that according to the law in Virginia, he's allowed to film everybody, but he will abide by that.
With their permission. He didn't have their permission.
I'm a PI. I know that's wrong.
It's possible, no?
Without, with their permission.
It's not a private meeting that you specifically told not to.
Okay, we're gonna go with this final question, and then we're gonna move on.
It's very nice that you want to pick up the community. I do believe that. I do think you really want to do that. But how are you going to pay for it?
That's why we need the new management company to provide us advice, and we're gonna do it. There are several expenses that I'm seeing here that can be reduced.
But
That
we
can be
don't have,
reduced.
but, excuse me just a second, that sounds nice, they're gonna advise us, but that doesn't put money in our coffers so that we can do what we need to do. The reality is, and the only reason that we ask for the loan is because we don't have the money. I've been on the board twice, I know what's going on here. We don't have the money to do what you wanna do.
Okay, so basically this is the issue, okay? There are repairs that need to be done, okay? You need funding for those repairs.
Exactly.
It's not that hard. You figure out what needs to be done. Do we have the money? We don't, okay? So people need to come to the realization that we might have to take out a loan.
We've already done that.
We
But
did
no,
that.
Here's the thing, the difference was the repairs that were listed weren't all necessary according to some of the members, okay? Some of the.
That were
Which
that were
member?
on the board, they didn't really know what
Some
was
of the
going
community
on.
members, some of the owners, not the
That don't
board.
really
We
know
don't
what's
know
going
what's
on.
going
But the board
Right,
knows.
that's what,
They're not informed.
Because that is the
That's
point,
the
that we were
point.
not shared, we were not given certain
We
information.
had, there were huge meetings that showed you pictures of things that are deteriorating.
Teacher, no,
Excuse me.
Reports from engineers, certified
From engineers,
engineers.
yes.
That's what we were asked, that's what
That's
we've
what
been
we,
asked.
that's what you did, isn't it?
So,
Yeah, we
She
had
was
that.
on the board, she knows.
this is what the board is trying to do.
But that's
We are
what
trying
we
to-
gave the community, Robin. We had meeting after meeting and showed everyone that the electrical is breaking, the plumbing is breaking. I've lived here for 30 years. I know what this community was like. I know what this community was like when I moved here. And we live in a pit now. We didn't have bugs, we didn't have rats, we didn't have any of that. We had a nice community, and now we live in a pit, and it's fallen apart. That attorney, when she came in here, that's the first thing she focused on. And she's supposed to be representing you, that we're falling apart here. She said that to us. So why are you fighting us? We already pushed the loan through. We already pushed the loan through to get our property so we don't lose it. I don't get it. I don't
So how do you
understand it.
propose we get the money?
No, they don't get it, and you're not telling all the truth to these people here. If we do a short-term loan and we get an increase in the fees, all that stuff that we've been paying for the last 7 years, which we could not collect on from our insurance company, or they would have canceled us because of the fire, we haven't been able to collect on anything. We had to take it out of our condo fees. That's why the fees have gone up. If we get a loan, we do the repairs, then the condo fees can come down so that we're back to where we were. No, you don't understand.
Your wife is the one who does not know what's going on. Why are you laughing? She's the main one lying.
Okay, do we have another question, because otherwise we're gonna move on with the meeting.
I would like to say something about it. The board and we who started to hire a lawyer because we want to start. I want to be repaired the electric, plumbing, windows, everything. They want to, right? You want to.
Where are you gonna
You
get
don't
the
want to
money?
stop anything.
But where's the money?
The thing is, we
money?
are gonna do the loan, but the first NPR, what they want to do? They are charging without info how they did the bid, how do they do the estimates. We think, we are still thinking they are charging too much
The
for us,
estimates
you
have
know?
not been.
We haven't done
But
it.
how did you find out how much I have to put it?
We had
They come and they $28,000, right?
Well, if
How they are, we are.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you, what happened was, one general contractor, for example, said, this table, to replace this table, let's say $1,000. Now, the engineers have to draw up the plans for the table. We need 4 legs, we need flat. Now it goes out to bid. Now we have 3 different contractors that come back and say, $800, $500, $900. And then it goes to the board and then they decide. So that, if, let's say they decide to go with the one that's $500, so that number now comes down. That $2.6 million was just a number to go to the bank. And then they could come back and say, we don't have to do the plumbing. We don't have to do the painting outside. We don't have to do the carpet. That number of 2.6 goes down and down and down. You have not even gotten to that point. And that's what I don't think anybody really understands. That was just a number to go to the bank, so because you say, I want to borrow money, they say, how much? Well, we figured it might be this, maximum.
And we went to one bank.
No,
We got denials over the phone by 2
But
banks.
you know why?
Denials
Because you
over
have
the
no
phone.
collateral. Your only collateral is the monies that, your assessments that come in. You don't have money in the bank. You have about $240,000 in the bank. You couldn't even do a roof if you wanted to. I mean, right now, so that number, it scares everybody, but the board could then have said, now we have all the paperwork, now we can say to the bank, we don't want to paint. We don't want to do anything to the outside. We only want to deal with the dangers, the
But
balconies,
I remember
the
I
plumbing.
mentioned that at one meeting once. That was my concern, and they didn't say anything about it.
But
The board
it's
had
never
not
gone
the
out to
same
bid,
problem.
so your
I know.
numbers have not even been established
Well, unfortunately,
yet.
we
So
just
you
felt
bought
that not
something.
all the information was shared with all the owners as it
There is
could have.
no information yet,
Yes.
because the numbers
The
have not been
banks
established.
that you were a management, the management company requested the loans. We wanted the denial in writing. We didn't want to hear about denials of the loan over the phone. So that's what I personally said.
You personally.
I wanted to have more information, and the only way that I could have more information for me, it seemed to be on the board.
Ma'am, but I understand if the sooner we stop paying for repair, sooner my result will go up.
Well, if you
sooner we can-
cooperate
This
with
is what
us, if you let us do our work
My simple
as the
math-
previous board was doing, we may figure it out that we could keep the loan, but if you keep fighting us and you keep not collaborating with us,
You are
we are not
hypocrite.
able to work.
You are, that 5-year plan that you
I'm not
mentioned, I've been
answering
thinking about that. And I'm thinking, how would you choose what to do first? You know, I'm on a top floor, I'm sleeping under that roof that's sagging. Now, I hope you pick that one first. Or no, maybe it should be the electrical, because we've got smoking electrical boxes. How could you pick which one to do first?
Right.
Right.
The building I live in, from house 4 months, the roof is leaking, currently
We
leaking.
need studies from engineers. I'm not a certified engineer, so
We
I
have
don't
studies.
know.
We have studies,
We
I've
have
seen
made
them.
a plan within our budget. We have to analyze
We don't have a
our
budget.
budget.
No, the budget will kill us.
We have to analyze our expenses, and then we're gonna work with a new management company. Unfortunately, we
So you're
have
going to pay for the
guys.
studies all over again?
Go.
No,
Wait. Page 6 of the lawsuit that most of the board members put in, line 24. WCUOA members, those are the people who sued, not us, have consistently opposed the improvement plan because it rendered the housing units unaffordable for many of the resident and investor unit owners. Let me say that again.
I don't know why you're
Consistently,
reading. Can we have-
your lawsuit consistently opposed the improvement plan.
Because of the way.
Not modify it,
No, it's the money.
okay, oppose,
Totally, completely.
absolutely. Lawsuit. I don't care what people say, I really don't. I
Ma'am,
care
you
about the
believe-
facts and what they write.
Ma'am, you've been living here 2 years, on my place I've been 13 years now. Uncountable, I don't want to waste everybody's time. Uncountable time has been broken, the building. Right now, my bedroom is leaking, currently as we speak. So it's from 12 years, not blaming you or a board or anybody. It needs to be, the sooner is the faster the possible.
That's what we are trying to.
Do it all at the same time.
Speaking of accusations, there's been statements that accusations are being made by this crazy guy who's putting out the flyers. Whoever that son of a bitch is,
I make a
whoever.
motion to limit discussion right now.
Jennifer, okay, what are the accusations?
We have to watch out.
Kids.
You spend so much time.
¿Qué se va a hacer con los papeles que siguen poniendo anónimos? Porque
No, de ahorita no se habla de eso, porque no estaba en el anuncio.
We work together as a community, you've been fighting. And every time that I have and come to this meeting, it's every time we have to fight, say this and this and this. We should be together and start working.
Agreed.
Excuse me.
Okay, last
Excuse me.
comment, please.
Who is responsible for all of these things until the bill was like this in this community? For so many years, everything is broken, everything is damaged.
Well, we
That
hired
nobody fix
management
nothing until we need to pay like a big loan to fix everything. This is terrible. I never see any maintenance come to fix something serious.
Please.
The maintenance is only sweep,
Listen.
dump the trash.
I agree.
That's it.
I'm leaving.
At next meeting, we need the people to respect each other. Anyone, you need to have a chance to talk, because we couldn't understand nothing. Question and answer, please.
Ok. Yo quiero decir algo. Hablo inglés, hablo español, le voy a decir en español. Yo sé que ellos hablan.
Why don't you say English?
Okay, I can say English. Okay. I'm living in this area for too many years, almost 10 years. I see the manager of this business, he never do nothing. He charged $5,000 for the balconies. I paid the $5,000. He never do nothing in the balconies. I see looking at my apartment, I fixed that one for myself. He never fixed nothing. Why you not give a chance to these people? He tried to do something. It's the first time he do it now. 7 years, nothing happened. You see? Nothing happened. Why you not try new people? Maybe the new people do something.
Thank you.
You mean
Can you,
management?
can you listen to these people?
NRP hasn't been here since May.
It was a previous.
Yes.
No, they have not.
I know her.
They haven't been here 7 years.
Well, I last 4 years I paid this $5,000 because he called us, he sent the letters, and I paid
We
the
have
money.
no chance, sir. The last manager, she
Well, I
got
paid the money,
fired,
so
she
he not
doesn't
doing nothing.
answer the phone, she do not.
That was not NRG.
You know, we have no communication with the
Okay, that's
office.
Okay,
what happened.
okay.
Gentleman in the back.
My question is, why you not give the chance to these people to try, he tried to help the
He's
community.
asking the community why not.
It's the first meeting, and
Señor,
you fight
señor
already.
Nebraska quiere preguntar algo.
To
I'm
allow
sorry, sir,
people
go
the
ahead.
floor.
Well, we had so many problems before new board come in, and so many promises. What difference are you guys going to do from the previous board? That's my question.
What difference?
Yeah.
Well, we are starting the difference by changing the legal representative that we had in the past, by changing the management company, and we hope that with these two new vendors that we're gonna have, we're gonna be able to work and do these renovations gradually, starting with the most urgent things that need to be repaired, trying to come up with a good plan, financial plan, so we can finance these without the need of a loan. If we after the assessment, we see that we need a loan, don't worry, there's gonna be a bank that is gonna give us that $2.5 million.
You guarantee it?
I cannot guarantee it, but I'm positive, and I have this positive vibe that we are gonna find a bank like we did with them. If they were if they were willing to give us the loan, why shouldn't be?
Because we don't have insurance, so they won't give it to us.
We do have insurance, and it has
If
been
we lease
renewed
it.
for 1 more year,
Oh.
just for all of you to know.
Oh, speaking of which,
But because
does
we
the
don't know
insurance?
We have to, I'm sorry, but you have already commented a lot today.
Yeah, but
We
you
have
just
to-
spoke to the insurance. You just said the insurance. Does the insurance believe that we are doing the renovation project?
You have
that-
to talk to the insurance if you.
You're the board.
Speak on
No.
behalf of the insurance. We can speak
Wait a
on
minute.
behalf of the-
So you have, do you have any knowledge that the insurance company has a belief, and this can go to the oldest board member, has a belief that the renovation project that was proposed with the old board is happening?
Do they still think it's happening?
Yes.
The insurance company?
Yes.
We told,
I never heard that.
It's a very clear question.
She was
she was here, she knows.
No, that does not mean it. Do they have the understanding that the renovation project is happening?
She has the insurance company.
That's not, you're not answering the question. Do they have some belief that we are doing a renovation
They have made
project?
the recommendations, and we gave the email
Yes.
to the
Why are you not
management
answering my
company.
question?
Yes, we gave that letter to her, so yes.
Okay.
That's
We
not
are
the letter.
We are not gonna answer the question because
What
we
is
don't
it?
know what the insurance company knows, okay?
She
We
doesn't?
don't know them.
She doesn't?
We know about the recommendation, we know whatever we have in
She
writing.
doesn't?
Yes, but none of this.
I can't answer what she knows.
I'm asking her, does she know that the insurance company has some idea that the renovation that was proposed in the old board is happening?
Do you know?
He's not on the phone.
So you have no writing, no documentation, never received anything?
Why are you asking that question?
But that's what they,
Why are you asking that
that's what they
question?
accused the previous board.
Because it's recorded.
So why are they not being held accountable as well?
Thank you everyone for coming.
are trying to do the best we can to work in the best interest of everyone. And so we invite everyone to come to our next meeting on November 4th, where we will choose the new manager, and the managers will be invited to come. Entonces tenemos que terminar esa reunión ahorita, pero gracias a todos por venir y están invitados a la siguiente reunión 4 de noviembre, a donde se va a invitar a los candidatos de manager.
I would like to say something. You know, we know everybody we want this renovation. Why we have to pay high amount for this renovation?
Because that's what it's expensive.
Hey, we got to help this board, this new board, to find out and less price to do the renovation.
Somebody's gonna die before it happens, though. Somebody's gonna die.
We are not
Somebody's gonna die.
to do it. We are not to board. We are the owners.
Guys, let it go.
We are gonna make a,
So the board is going to...
we're gonna make a decision.
On the attorney?
We're gonna make a
We had 73 people vote to get the loan and go forward with the repairs.
In the past, it was
The
done.
small number of people that sued us are going to make the decision against the majority of the community. Is that correct?
Those are the rights of the board.
I said, since there were 73 people that voted for the loan and the improvement project that we all approved and voted on at the meeting, I wasn't there, but I was told.
See, unfortunately, like you, I was not there at that meeting either.
Well, but
I cannot speak.
But NPR was there, we have the documents.
And there were other witnesses there that claimed other, like there's no, there's just this whole thing in the air whether it happened or not. I was not there. I would do my best to give. I did not go to that.
I came in at 6:30 and there was not any vote.
Okay,
None
thank
of the
you.
25 people who were in the room remembered any vote accepting the votes for the loan. And in addition, the board has never seen the vote.
Yeah, we have it in one paper that.
I've been here 6 questions.
Wait a minute, did she just say she? Can you repeat what she just, Robin, can you repeat what you just said? You never saw the votes, so, and you don't know that there were votes? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it is true. I never saw any votes.
And if there are no laws, NRP has them in the office, if you wanna go and look at them.
Did you
The vote, but she's on the board and she has, okay.
Did you approve the minutes from that?
She's on the board, but she did never sign.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, you know what happened was that the meeting started promptly at 6:30, and you might have been outside, because you guys, the second meeting started, and we were already approved the minutes when everybody started walking in. So there was about 5 minutes that had elapsed, and this meeting started exactly at 6:30. So when I walked in, there was a gathering outside, so I don't know, and that's when everybody started coming in with your things, but.
So am I to understand there was 5 minutes where there was between something starting and something?
6:30, yeah. 6:30, the meeting started, the
How
board
many
asked
people? How
me,
many people?
the board of directors, and there was maybe 2 people here.
It was being videotaped and there were 25 people.
No, he just said it. He came in late.
Everybody
Came in
was
late
sitting
with
here when you
videotape.
came in. The meeting had already started, they had a quorum. So the meeting started, the special meeting reconvened, they asked me for the report of the amount of people that voted, I gave that to them, they accepted it, moved on, opened up the second meeting, the regular meeting of the board. They had already even approved the minutes, and they were on like the 3rd item, and that's when you guys all came in.
No, I got here on time and I have never seen any of the
Me
votes.
too. That day I was at
So as an outsider, it just seems like it was purposely started without.
I have one quick question.
Are you
Wow.
Since you have been debating these, I'm gonna share.
Let Eduardo speak. He hasn't talked
Right,
about
that's why I'm
As a
not
board
saying it
member.
wasn't approved, because there are 2 sides. I absolutely see that.
I mean,
And
there was a gentleman
I would
here.
like to say something.
There's
I know
two-
the board is going to elect a new lawyer. I would like to offer my opinion. I prefer Susan over all the 2 others.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
that-
certainly
if
not
taken
one that
into
suit us.
consideration,
Yeah.
Maybe some of us can say the same, and,
¿Tiene
you
alguna
know,
preferencia del
majority
abogado
will
que
give a
vino? Do you have
preference for that.
any? Any preferences in regards to the 3 lawyers that
Susan.
made their presentation?
Can I just say
Bill Maher.
something? You should really look for a lawyer with experience in the law that governs the condo associations. That's ideal. None of these lawyers really have experience in condo law. And you really need that because of everything that's going on.
By the way, before he leaves, did he agreed to give the videos last meeting? Has he given the videos to
No, he
NRP?
just said he doesn't want any problems, but so he won't give them.
What?
Well, what about
But that was the stipulation, so he could record.
That was, yeah.
That was he was given permission to record because he said he will give a copy to you.
The problem from the beginning, they are doing this, and then I don't know what's your interest, I want to know.
Okay, we allowed you to, I want you to understand this. We allowed you to videotape it with the understanding.
For what you feel, you for what you record, you for what you record.
What is the reason?
What is the reason that you record?
Because you promised the ownership.
Oh, today.
Because, that's my point. I will look for the ownership. The ownership, you agreed to the ownership that you would release the information to NRP.
You now, I ask now, why you record?
Because you promised the ownership. See, I work for these people. Okay?
Me too.
Well, again, if you did, you would release the information to NRP.
No, that-
Like this video, it's gonna go right there immediately to
The
them.
law, the Virginia law, permit any people to record.
Without
This is a private situation, not public. It was under an understanding that you release it. Now, let me say this very clear, since you're doing Virginia law, and for some reason my registered PI license means nothing. You were allowed to videotape by the ownership with the understanding you released the information to NRP. If you did not release the information,
I am not obligated to give money.
Yes, you
So your word means nothing.
no,
You know what?
he's not right.
You know what?
And there could be,
Because I
relief because of it.
I start to record it because I start to don't believe the management. Because the management say many lies about the record. Yeah, I don't scare the truth. When I write something, I put my name and my face. I go counter.
do you understand that by breaching this verbal agreement, we can seek relief?
I don't hide them.
What are you guys gonna do about that?
I am a man.
The words that you need.
I'm glad you asked that
I am a
question.
man.
Well, you just leave outside, please, and continue.
Wait,
your
no. I like that she asked that question because it bothers me. I was not on the board when this whole agreement started with.
It wasn't by the board, it was us. I'm sorry, Ivy.
Right, but I was an owner and I said, fine,
Right.
I agreed to him taping it. But, so, unfortunately, I can't force him to give you guys tapes. I would like to see the tapes too because there are things that I know were said and people claim that they didn't say them. But we can't force him to give over the tapes.
Well, then he can
He's
no longer
not-
film.
Yes,
He is no longer welcome to. You can no longer
Maybe he'll
film.
think twice about them filming next time and handing over the tapes.
So, since you filmed over here, and I feel like I was on your video, I would like you to delete
I start
it.
the tape because
You can seek
now
relief.
I start to don't believe, and I want to make sure that the actors of the board will be true and not late.
I agree.
Okay,
I understand.
for that.
But once you started filming people, that was no longer, that's void. Once you started filming people in the audience, you voided the agreement.
And people can seek
En
relief.
cuanto usted empezó después a apuntar la cámara.
I want him to understand that.
Entonces ya el.
Sí, es
I
posible.
love suing
Excuse me, but the law, Virginia, don't permit to sign. Let's read the law.
We're talking about the law.
As long as you understand that people can seek relief, not a problem.
Eduardo wanted to say something, he didn't get to say anything. He wanted to say something earlier.
Oh, yeah, that was about the tape.
Oh.
But, yeah, but many questions were avoided by the board. I mean, they were not answered.
I know.
The
They adjourned the meeting before.
insurance
without making.
Question is very important. They realize that we are a community, they can.
Geez, so meeting over.
No, they don't know. Maybe somebody should tell them.
To see that it's important.
Oh, well.
I didn't get to ask too many
I
questions,
know,
but most of the
well,
stuff got covered anyway, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them did. Yeah. Sheila.
No, we want to apply. I just think it's funny. To get answers to what she charges. And so, it's hypocrisy at its highest. They can't answer questions that they wanted to force them to answer. But now that they are on that side, they don't have to answer. Right. Or Robin, I don't know, I never got emails. Are you serious? You know, emails.